Our next guest has been getting a lot of media recently for taking on a multi-billion-dollar industry that sells an unrealistic and unhealthy ideal of what young people should aspire to. She challenges the widespread use of Photoshop in marketing. She started a website called Raw Beauty Talks, the only one of its kind that asks high-profile women to pose for the camera without makeup. She believes in celebrating people for who they are and wants us all to give a healthy message of acceptance to young people. Please welcome Erin Treloar.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Lynn, for having me here tonight. As Sam said, my name is Erin, and when I was 14 years old, I got boobs. Puberty hit, and I got boobs, and I loved them. But unfortunately, along with the boobs, came a whackload of teenage hormones, a pair of hips that I wasn't as crazy about, and a whole new perspective on what was really important in life. I grew up in a house where physical beauty just wasn't that valued. Sure, my parents were wonderful, and they told my sisters and I that we were beautiful all the time, but it wasn't by any means what they focused on. Despite having such positive influences at home, I did what most teenagers do, and I completely ignored my parents, sorry, Mom and Dad, and I turned to things like my friends and magazines and celebrities for guidance as I navigated life as a teenager. I remember sitting on my floor and flipping through a magazine and being completely in awe of the lifestyle that was featured in the pages. Unlike Trevor, I was not watching spaceships or reading about planes. I was looking at models and women who were flawless. Their lives seemed perfect, and I wanted it so badly. I started to change the way that I was eating in hopes that I could shave a little bit off of my hips, just lose a little bit of weight so that I would look like those girls. And what started out as healthy eating spiraled very quickly into an eating disorder. Over the course of the next year, I became obsessed with counting calories. I lost 40 pounds off of a frame that really didn't have that much weight to lose. And I had to drop out of my favorite activities, dance and soccer and volleyball, because I was too weak to play. I literally lost every single thing I was trying to gain by losing that weight. By the time I was 17, I was 5'11" and weighed only 89 pounds. I was incredibly lucky and was admitted into a wonderful inpatient program at the hospital where I spent about 3 months of high school, not where you want to be in high school, reevaluating what was really important in life, reestablishing a relationship with food that was a positive one. Now, my case is unique. Not every single young girl or boy who's exposed to media ends up hospitalized with an eating disorder, but they are being affected. We all are. And the problem's just getting worse. A recent study showed that the number one wish of young girls age 11 to 17 is to be thinner. That's their number one wish. 81% of 10-year-old girls, not even teenagers, 81% are afraid of being fat. And this isn't just a small, trivial fear. This fear transcends that of nuclear war, or cancer, or even losing their parents. It sounds shocking and weird and confusing, but it makes sense because by the time we're 17, we've been exposed to over 250,000 commercial images, many of which link beauty to the things that we strive for most in life: happiness, success, money, careers, friendships, and most importantly, love. The average fashion model weighs 23% less than the average woman. The average woman is 5'4" and 140 pounds. The average model is 5'11" and weighs 110 pounds. Now, despite the fact that only 5% of women in North America are born with a body that comes even close to looking like these models, 69% of girls say that the images and the models that they see in magazines influence their idea of the perfect body. This is where the problem lies. These images that are dictating what the perfect body looks like are incredibly produced. It takes teams of individuals to create them. And even when they have the perfect shot, they're still sent through a computer program where thigh gaps are added and cleavage is increased and hair is volumized and teeth are whitened and fine lines are removed. And God forbid your boobs are a little saggy from feeding 3 children, because those will be taken out too. As adults, we can look at these images critically. We understand how produced they are when we stop and think about it. But the problem is that we're all so busy, and when we're seeing hundreds of these images day in and day out, we don't have time to stop and critically think about them. Instead, somewhere subconsciously, we start to believe that these images represent a real form of beauty, an obtainable form of beauty. And we measure ourselves against that. This propels us to make certain decisions. It's why we buy the whitening toothpaste, it's why we Botox our forehead, it's why we purchase the season's trendy it bag even when we can't afford it. If these images are having this effect on us as adults, you can only imagine the effect that it's having on children and teenagers. Here are 2 quick examples of before and after pictures that showcase how Photoshop is used. So in the first image, we see what would be considered a plus-size model in the world of fashion. Even the plus-size model's plus has been confined, has been slimmed down, has been reduced, has been smoothed out. Both of these images that you're going to see did end up in print. The second image shows 2 Ralph Lauren ads, both featuring the exact same model. But you can see in the second picture, her size has been so substantially reduced, she's almost unrecognizable. Unlike when I was in high school, kids today don't just have magazines and advertisements to compare themselves to. There's an entire new world of social media, which means that images are reaching them younger and younger, and they're coming at them faster than ever before. Some of these images are inspirational and beautiful, but an equal number have very harmful messages attached to them. They're changing the way that we see the world, and they're changing the way that we see ourselves. When members of our community are spending this much time and energy focused on the way that we look, it's a disservice to our society as a whole. It's tapping the energy and the brain power and the talent of people who could be doing so much more. So what do we do about it? Well, last year, I started an organization called Raw Beauty Talks with the goal of helping women and young girls find confidence in their unique beauty. And we do this by advocating for transparency in media and by starting conversations about beauty. We kicked it off by interviewing over 200 women across North America and as far as Africa, and we talked to them about everything from their experiences in high school to when they feel the most beautiful, how to raise the next generation of girls so that they feel confident, thoughts on plastic surgery. And we also photographed them. No makeup, no Photoshop, no filters, with the goal of infusing media with images of real women. Most recently, we launched a petition asking magazines to reduce the amount of Photoshop they use in their pages. No, I don't think Photoshop is going away completely. It's just not. But what I would like to see is that magazines stop touching the bodies and faces of the men and the women that they feature. I believe that if one of the largest media outlets is willing to add more transparency to the images that they release out into the public, that we'll be able to be a little bit more accepting of our own flaws and able to focus on the things that really matter. I imagine a world where when we look at images in media, we feel inspired. We see a version of ourselves that gives us confidence, that gives us a sense of belonging, that gives us a feeling of limitless potential. I believe that when marketers and advertisers can figure out how to evoke those types of feelings, they'll be able to create a better world while still selling their products. I really can't do this on my own, though, because as Sam said, it is a huge billion-dollar industry. And so I ask of you tonight, please wash your hands, recycle, visit our website at rawbeautytalks.com, or find us on Instagram at rawbeautytalks. Click on the link to the petition and sign it. It only takes 30 seconds. If you have another 30 seconds and you're able to share it with friends, I would be incredibly grateful. I know that there is a better way, and that is what I'm fighting for every day with Raw. Thank you.